How to take beautiful pictures of people and outside a window using with stoves. I will tell you about indoor daylight synchronization in a room with a window. What is daylight synchronization? I'm sure you're wondering. Daylight synchronization is a lighting technique that makes people look beautiful, even with stoves, while making the background of natural light look beautiful. In this video, I show you how to use a large window as a background to make the women look beautiful while making the outside of the window look beautiful as well. I'll be using a Comet B360 stove and a Speedbox 70 softbox. First, I'll take a picture without using a stove, using only natural light from the window. I'll set the exposure just enough to make the outside of the window look beautiful. The subject is dark because the large window is backlit. So I adjust the exposure to the subject and set it about 2 stops brighter so that the subject will be brighter. Furthermore, I place a large reflector in front of the subject to reflect natural light from the background onto the subject. Now, let's take a picture. The subject is now brighter, but the background is burned out white. In general, this might be fine, but I want to make the scenery outside the window look nice as well. Next, let's try using a stove. First, I'll apply the Comet B360 directly. I want to make the light as soft as possible, so the distance from the subject is about 1 meter. The exposure is the same as the first shot, so that the scenery outside the window looks beautiful. Now, let's take a picture. If you apply it directly, it will look unnatural. I put the reflector on the shadow side, but the shadow is dark, so it looks strange. I want to make the light more natural and soft, so I set the stove in the direction of the window light and place it diagonally behind the subject to create some backlighting. Do not point the stove toward the subject, but apply the light from the corner of the stove to slightly hit the subject. Reflect that light on a large white reflector and shine it on the subject. The image now looks natural. The subject is still a little dark, so I brighten the exposure a little more. The soft light created a very natural atmosphere. There is also an edge light, so it looks very natural with a backlit atmosphere. Next time, to make the light even softer, I bounce the light off the back wall on the right and bounce it off the white reflector board. Now let's take a shot. This looks good, but the color of the wall has mixed a little and the light is a little yellow. In this case, I like the color and the light better if I point the softbox at the white reflector instead of reflecting it off the wall. If you are shooting with a large backlight from a window, the stove should be in the same light direction and reflect the light onto a large reflector to soften the light and create a very natural look. At that time, adjust the direction of the stove so that the edge light is not too strong. Please give it a try. Compared using the front bokeh tool. Have you ever heard of foreground bokeh? This is to create a blur by placing something between the subject and the lens. By placing something to create foreground bokeh, you can add depth and soft atmosphere. In this video, I will compare 3 different tools that can be used to create a foreground bokeh. First, let's start with lighting. This time, I will use 2 Godox 8200 lights. First, press the first light to brighten the background by bouncing it off the wall to create a soft light. The other light is placed diagonally behind the subject, giving it a semi-backlit feel. The light is reflected by a large reflector to brighten the subject. First, let's take a picture as it is. I will use the foreground bokeh tool. The same backlit light creates a nice line of light that hits the hair and the sweater, and the subject has a soft light hitting the face. The background is also well lit, has a shallow depth of field, and is beautifully blurred. This is a very beautiful photo. To make the dried flower in the background a little more fluffy, I'll add a foreground bokeh tool. First, I will use a glass ball ornament. Hold the glass ball in your left hand and press it to the right to the lens so that the background is blurred. You can actually adjust the position of the bokeh by moving it while looking through a viewfinder. I was able to take a good picture. Since the glass beads are transparent, the original color of the background becomes softer due to the foreground bokeh, resulting in a natural-looking foreground bokeh. However, I would like to make it a little more fluffy. Next, use a thin white cloth as a foreground bokeh tool. It is a very thin cloth like satin fabric. Hold it in your left hand as well, place it in front of the right side of the lens, and adjust the position of the bokeh. In doing so, be careful not to shake the camera as you hold it with your right hand only. It also feels very nice. The blurriness has increased more than before. Since I use white cloth, it feels a little brighter. I like something bright and fluffy like this. Finally, try using aura-colored ornaments. This is one I made myself by purchasing a rainbow reflective seed at the dollar store and cutting it into thin stripes. Hold it in your left hand and press it in front of the right side of the lens to create front bokeh. This time, just like before, the blur was bright and fluffy, but the front blur was mixed with pink and purple colors. I like this too. However, you need to be careful about how you add it, as pink and purple can sometimes feel too strong. Adding foreground blur creates a dreamy and emotional impression. Using a foreground bokeh tool like this is effective when there are obstacles in the background or when you want to make the background softer. The key point is that the background color and density should not change too much. They all look good to me. Which photo do you like? How to take beautiful pictures with backlight from a small window. In this video, I'll show you how to take beautiful pictures of women in a room with a small window. This is a small room in a half basement, but even in such a place, you can take beautiful pictures depending on your ingenuity. Since it is in basement, the window is at an upper height. First, let's take a picture with the windows in backlit and without exposure compensation. The entire room is dark, so the result was very dark on the exposed photo. Then I'll adjust exposure to the person and set exposure compensation to about +2. The brightness of the highlights is just right, but shadows are dark. I also feel that there is too much flare in the highlights. To make the shadows a little brighter, I place a white reflector board and reflect the natural light from the window onto the subject. The shadows are now brighter, and the image looks okay. Normally, this is okay, but I would like to add a strobe as well. I use a Godox 8200 strobe. If I use a strobe directly on the subject, it will ruin this beautiful image. So, to match the direction and quality of light, I bounce the strobe off the white wall below the window on the far left. By bouncing the strobe under the window, it creates the effect of enlarging the area of a small window. Now let's take a shot. The light is a little bit on the upper side, but it is beautiful. If you want to make the shadows a little brighter, you can bounce the stove like this to increase the area of light in a small window, creating a soft light. Also, since it is a stove, you can control the brightness. The key point is to use the light from a small window to create a backlit effect. And by turning the light from a small window into a large light, you can create a beautiful light. Please give it a try, everyone. Small softbox, direct or bounce. When using a small softbox, you may be wondering whether it is better to apply directly or bounce it off the wall. In this video, I will show you how to use a small softbox to change the atmosphere. The softbox I use is a Godox 60 by 90 cm one. Inside is Godox 8100. First, I will apply the softbox from the front. The distance is about 3 meters away from the subject. It's a pretty cool image, but it feels flat and lacks a three-dimensional feel. This time, let's bounce it to the right wall to create a more three-dimensional effect. The soft light hitting the subject from the side creates a very nice atmosphere. However, since the subject is dressed in a cool outfit, the light seems too soft. I want to take a cool shot that matches the mood of the subject, so I try applying the softbox directly on the subject. At this time, move the softbox as close to the subject as possible. The distance between the subject and the softbox is about 60 centimeters. The light coming from the side gives a three-dimensional effect. Since the light is applying directly on the subject from a close distance, the light is not hard, the contrast is high, and the shadows are dark, creating a cool image. Even with direct lighting, if you shine the light from a distance, the contrast will be weak and the light will be hard. Once you have decided on the light, all you have to do is change the pose and take a photo. It looks great. Everyone, try changing the way you apply the softbox to suit your mood. Differences in the direction of light when photographing cute gestures with a single softbox light. When taking a full body photo, it can be difficult to get a good shot if the subject moves. In this video, I will show you how to take beautiful pictures even with a single stop by comparing the direction of the light. The stove I use is a Comet B360 with a round softbox called Speedbox 70. First, let's apply the stove directly on the subject from the front. The light will be from a slightly higher angle. Since the lighting is from the front, the photo will be flat and lack a three-dimensional effect. Because the distance between the subject and the softbox is far, the light quality becomes harder and gives a more flat impression. Next, try applying it directly from an angle. Since the light is coming from an angle, it gives a nice three-dimensional effect to the face. However, the distance between the subject and the softbox is too far, so the light is a bit hard and the strong shadows appear in the background. If you try to take a full-body photo, you have to move the softbox away or the softbox will be reflected in the photo, resulting in hard light. This time, let's bounce it to the white wall on the left. If you bounce it against the white wall, the light will be much softer because the area is larger. Since the light is from the side, it has a three-dimensional effect and is very beautiful. Even if the softbox is far away from the subject, you can create soft light so you don't have to worry about the softbox appearing in the photo. The light has become softer, but I also want to include a hair light, so I bounce the softbox high on the back left wall to create a semi-backlit lighting. To brighten the subject, Place a large reflector diagonally in front of the subject to reflect the light from the bounce at the back left. The subject was illuminated with soft light as well as a beautiful hair light and edge light, creating a beautiful light. Since it bounces off the wall, the light is less likely to be reflected in the image, even if the subject is far away from the light. Also, if the subject is far away from the light, the brightness will not change even if the subject moves left or right, allowing you to take pictures with beautiful lighting. After that, it's perfect to shoot while showing movement. You can improve your facial expression by simply taking pictures while moving. You can take such beautiful pictures with just one light. Isn't it amazing? Everyone, please give it a try. Tips to make it look like autumn. What kind of image do you have of autumn light? In this video, I will show you how to create an autumn-like atmosphere. First, let's take a picture without using a stove, using only the steady light in the room. I'll be using a stove after this, so I'll take a dark image so that the light in the room won't affect it much. At this level of darkness, the brightness of the room will not be affected much by the stove. Next, use the softbox. The stove is a Comet B360 with a Speedbox 70 round softbox. Bounce the stove off the wall on the left side of the room to create a soft light that brightens the entire room. The image is as if the light from the sky is hitting from the left. I want to create a more autumnal image. In autumn, the sun sets earlier and the evening sunlight hits the subject from the side, so I want to shine the stove directly on the subject from the side. To create an autumn-like light, I will attach an orange filter to the Godox AD200. It is easy to attach with a magnet. The light from the autumn evening sun is weak, so I set the stove's intensity low enough to create shadows from the side of the subject. The image now looks as if the sun is shining on the autumn sunset. It's a very autumnal atmosphere, don't you think? If you increase the power of this stove or use only this stove, the contrast will be too strong and you won't get the autumnal atmosphere. The soft light bouncing off the wall in the same direction creates an image of the light in the sky, creating an autumn-like image. The key points are to create the light of the sky and to apply a weak light from the stove that shows the setting sun, and make it an orangish image. It looks good, doesn't it? Please give it a try. How to look great with daylight synchronization using a clip-on stove. When using daylight synchronization, it tends to look unnatural as if you were using a stove. In this video, I'll show you how to use a clip-on stove to look great with daylight synchronization while using the wall of a building. First, turn off the clip-on stove. If the background is bright, the person's face will be dark. Next, try overexposing the image. The face became brighter, but the background was washed out. Now turn on the clip-on stove and aim it directly at the subject. In this case, I set the exposure back to the initial exposure with the subject was slightly darker so that the background was a little brighter, and added a clip-on stove to that. Although the face became brighter, it still looked flat, as if a stove light had been applied to it and it didn't look natural. This time, I used the wall of the building and bounced the clip-on stove off the wall. The light is coming from the side, and the light quality is softer, creating a three-dimensional effect, making it look natural and very nice. When using daylight synchronization, let's think about how to soften the light from the clip-on stove when shooting. By softening the light, you can make women look more beautiful. Please give it a try, everyone.